Right, just a quick rundown on how the allotment's going. We're in the third week in April. This guttering, I've put some peas in there. They were put in 5 days ago, so it'll be a while before they come through. Just dig a trench then and slide them in when they're ready. Tomato plants, these were grown in a propagator end of February, so they're around 7 weeks old now. Put them in the ground in a couple of weeks. The variety is Crimson Cocktail. It's suitable for outside growing. I've had one feed up to press. This is my sweet corn. This is Northern Extra Sweet, grown at the same time in a propagator. They'll go out again in 2 weeks' time. Melon seeds. I haven't grown this one before. It's called Budgie. These will go in tubs, stay in the polytunnel, and I'll grow them up this trellis. These are just a few raspberry cuttings that I took. They went a bit wild this year, so I dug them up, put them in pots. I'll see if anybody wants them. This first tree is a Victoria plum. It's 6 years old. I've trained 8 branches onto wires, 4 either side. It's already blossomed very early. Dropped its petals, so I don't know what will happen with this year. That's Cocoa. That's Bonnet. This next tree is a Stella Cherry. It's also 6 years old, trained on wires, and that's in full blossom now. This one at the end's apple, and this is a James Grieve. Again, 8 branches, 4 either side, and that's also in full blossom. This is an autumn planted onion. These were planted in mid-October, and variety is Electra. It's a red onion. The first 2 rows in this bed are garlic. That's Provence White, and that was also planted mid-October. The rest of the bed is made up of shallots, which is Griselle, also planted in the autumn. This is a white onion, variety is Shakespeare, also planted October time. I've given all the alliums 2 feeds of a high nitrogen just to encourage leaf growth. Seems to be working okay. I've started growing my potatoes in tubs, these black tubs. This is early variety Red Duke, left to chit, planted mid-January and left in the tunnel. Brought outside early April. Started to form flowers already. And these will just be used 1 tub at a time, as and when needed. This first run of peas I grew in the gutters that I shown you earlier in the tunnel. Dug a trench, slid them in. It's Hurst green shaft. Put this netting up for them to grow up. This side I've put the seeds straight into the ground. Just poking through now. They've been in there 4 weeks. This is just a row of marigolds. Apparently it keeps the pests off, but I don't know if that's true. This is a spring planted white onion called Stuttgart. The sets were planted mid-March. They should be ready August, September, around 4 weeks after the autumn planted onions. These empty beds are waiting for my tomatoes to go in. One there, one there. This is another spring planted onion. It's a red, called Red Baron. Also given high nitrogen feed. That's an empty bed waiting for the sweet corn to go in. Them yellow flowers are off the Brussels sprouts from last year, waiting to be cut out. This is my carrot bed. Put this first row in 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I've put another 2 rows in since. A lot of weeds in there, but I'll clear them out. Can't do it yet till I know which of the carrot seeds are coming through. I raised this bed 6 inch. I put some cement boards on just to give me more depth, and I sifted all the soil, took out any stones, pieces of wood, just to try and get the carrots straighter, hopefully. There's Coco and Bonnie again. This is my raspberry run. It's about 25 foot long, this run, and it goes down both sides. This is the 4th season. They were planted as bare root. Tie the canes to the wires, 6 inch intervals or thereabouts. Sometimes you get some gaps where they haven't come through. And after fruiting, these canes are all cut down, discarded. And the ones at the bottom that I'll show you around the corner are the ones you tie in for next year's fruit. They've got the flowers on now, so you get plenty of raspberries off them. I don't know how many canes it is, every 6 inch, over 25 foot. So I don't know what that works out. Quite a few. They'll actually be cut right down to ground level. These older brown canes, after they've dropped the fruit, after I've took the fruit off, they'll be cut down. These bright green shoots are next year's fruiting canes, so they'll be tied on. So the old canes will be out, the new canes will be tied on. I'll get the fruit off them next season. This is another apple, another James Grieve actually. Nice big red apples. This tree was cut down to knee height, bought as a 2-year-old sapling. So it might have been around 5 foot high. Sounds a bit harsh, but cut it down to knee height, then planted, and then let the scaffold branches grow, and let the fruiting branches grow off them. I've done that with all the fruit trees in here. Keeps them down, keeps them at a nice height. This is a Stella cherry, grown exactly the same way. This is goblet shape again, so open centre. Cut everything out of the centre, let the branches grow out. Cut down again to knee height, then the scaffold branches come out, thicken up and produce the fruiting branches. This pear tree is a conference pear. Done a bit of a different shape on these. Cut down again to knee height, let the scaffold branches grow. So this will cut down at that point there, and then these branches have grown out, producing the fruit branches. But I've let this leader grow, and I've got another 4 scaffold branches up there, so I'll get another canopy of fruit, hopefully. This is a winter pear. This is called Burr Hardy. Crops later than the conference pear, exactly the same, cut down to knee height, scaffold branches, fruiting branches. I've let a leader grow on this, got another canopy higher up. This is another Victoria plum. This is grown open centre again, goblet shape. Don't be fooled into paying extra money for dwarf trees. I've just cut these standard trees down when they were planted, and then you keep them down. I just prune them once in the winter for the shape and once in the summer to slow the growth down. This has already blossomed and it's dropping its petals now. This is a red currant bush. I'll cut a few of these branches out of the middle just to help with the airflow on the bush. You get lots of fruit on these, but they're a bugger to harvest. You can get a little tool, I think, like a comb. This is a loganberry. It's not doing too good this year. Bonnie chewed the canes off, so I had very little left to tie up. This is a tayberry. I allow 4 canes to grow on this. Tie them onto the wires. If not, you end up with a hell of a mess. It's already in flower. You get large berries. They're a little bit tarty, but very nice. Canes again are cut down after they've fruited and discarded. Then I'll choose 4 of these new canes and I'll tie them in for next season's fruit. The old canes are cut down at floor level. These are the shoots for next year. Now this grapevine, this is called Black Regent. Got bud break on it last week. This would have been 4 years old, but it's only 2. Cocoa actually chewed through it. So I've grown 4 cordons, tied them to wires, and it's been spur pruned. I won't let this fruit now till another 2 years growth on it. So it's been set back 2 years thanks to cocoa. This vine is 4 years old. It's called Green Bacchus, this grape. So I'll allow this to fruit this year. I prune them in mid-winter. I cut the spurs back to 3 buds. I'll keep the bud nearest to the cordon, but I'll pinch the fruit out of it. I won't let it fruit, and I'll keep that for next year's cane, fruiting cane. So the second green bud that you see is the one that will fruit this year. Anything else I'll pinch out so it puts all its energy into the fruit. So this nearest one will be next year's cane, bearing next year's fruit, and the next one up will be this year's fruit. Sounds a bit complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy to prune. Anything else barring these 2 will just get pinched out or broken off. This is the same variety, also 4 years old. Trained exactly the same way. 4 cordons running along wires. So you have your main trunk, cordons running off it, spurs running off that, and your buds are what carry this year's canes. Nearest bud, save for next year. Second bud, let fruit this year. Everything else pinched off. I try and get 10 spurs on each cordon. So in theory that's like 40 bunches each vine. That's a sad looking white currant bush. That's an even sadder looking wheelbarrow. That's a gooseberry bush. It's had a few setbacks, and these are my strawberry patches. I gave them a feed last week just to wake them up. A few missing there where Coco lays down. If I get... oh, there we are, Coco and Bonnie. If I get any interest off this video, I'll put another one on next month.
Right, you two, get up.
How it's progressed. They're getting up on table now for the treats before we go. There they are waiting, look. Little buggers.